Well, hello friends and neighbors. Happy Friday and welcome to another Recycle Review. Just heading into the May long weekend and it will be World Whiskey Day tomorrow. I don't know if I'll be able to partake in all the international festivities, so I thought maybe I'll quickly hit about 19 bottles and I'll keep it to 15 minutes. Thanks for staying with me through the intro. If you haven't been with me before, I do need to say, I should have said in the intro, big thanks to Roy at Aqvavitae. He's the originator of the Recycle Review. He still drinks better whiskey and shoots better videos. So Roy, again, hats off and thank you for the idea. So I'm just going to go through empties. Basically, I do a buy, not buy, now that I've been through the bottle. Kind of final thoughts. Not an in-depth review. If you're interested in any one of these things, you could check my channel and you'd be able to find out a more detailed review. We'll start in bourbon, go through Scotch, and then in Canadian. So the first bourbon up is Jim Beam Bottle and Bond. My neck of the woods is a pretty good value, good price, released at 50%, and I tend to like the Jim Beam profile. You know, pretty standard bourbon notes, lots of good corn, a little bit of nut in there, and some nice fresh oak. For me, though, it's almost the same price as their single barrel product, so I won't buy this again. If I feel like this kind of flavor profile in a Jim Beam, I'm probably just going to get their single barrel. Then I've got a couple from Knob Creek. One is their single barrel. If you've watched me before on the channel, you know that I really appreciate Knob Creek. I like the flavor profile. I find it takes a regular Jim Beam, but adds a little more kind of a cherry or apple fruit. At least that's what I find, mixed in with good cinnamon and spicing, and I really like it. And the single barrels continue to be a great value. I will definitely be buying another single barrel. Another Knob Creek product that when I watched reviews of, this is called the Twice Barreled Rye, released at 50%. So they take their standard rye and put it back in fresh new oak for a secondary finish. How long, I don't know, but probably pretty short. And it has an interesting effect on this rye. Ryes from Knob Creek tend to be, I shouldn't say it like that. I find the rye at Knob Creek, the regular rye, to be a little grassier than this, a little fresher. This is definitely more relaxed, and it really pulled the flavor profile back toward bourbon. I actually like this bottle. The thing that will keep me from buying it again is that it's just priced too high for what it offers. But if you haven't tried it and you like Knob Creek regular bourbon, even if you don't like their rye, it'd be nice to try to get a shot of this, because I found this closer to their bourbon than their rye profile, but I'm not buying it again. Last bourbon down here is Old Forester. This is their regular 86, right? So 43%. It's okay, and I got it for a steal, 23 bucks I think, but I'm not going to be replacing this. It's just too young, kind of rough, and not enough flavor profile for me to really enjoy it, so I'm not buying it again. Okay, leaving bourbon, heading into Scotch. Certainly I've been looking at some value Scotches. So this is Glen Silver's Age 12. This is a pure malt, which is an old way of calling that it's a malt, a blended malt. It surprised me. Really good balance on malt notes. Quite a decent value Scotch. It wasn't exciting enough for me to replace, but I'm glad I had it. Then I should go through, I've got 3 Glen Mori bottles. I'll do pretty quick. The Elgin Classic, really a nice Speyside and a decent price. I'll probably have another Glen Mori in my future because they do go on sale for a single malt, for around $30, which in my neighborhood is really quite good. So this Speyside, single malt, the Elgin Classic, to me was just exactly what you expect. Some orchard fruits, very relaxed wood, gentle spice, nice mouthfeel, easy sipping Scotch. Not like really unique, but probably buy it again. Then there was a Cabernet Cask finish. To me, it actually took away some of the crisper orchard fruits, added a little bit of pineapple and not quite to tropical, but something like that. And in the end, I really didn't like it. I'm definitely not buying Cabernet Glen Mori Scotch again. The sherry cask finish, I think if you're just new to Scotch and you're looking for a very affordable, really a combo, I'd look at getting the regular Elgin Classic to see, okay, this is just ex-bourbon, this is pretty close to what Speyside is known for, and then I would try this one, which would give you a sense of, oh, and that's the type of extra fruit notes that you might get in sherry cask. It's just not enough expression of sherry for me to buy again, so I'm probably not going to buy it again, even though I just gave it a recommendation. Moving up here, Glenfiddich 14. This is an interesting bottle. It is released at 43% instead of 40, and it's aged only in ex-bourbon barrels. And is this the one that has some fresh oak in it? Yes, finished in new oak barrels. So you take some of the nice fresh cut fruit that I get in Glenfiddich, you give it the vanillas from ex-bourbon, and then you get a little bit more wood note than you would in a typical Scotch. For the price they released this at, it's got an age stamp of 14. I think it's got a really nice oak profile. I would recommend and will be buying another one of these. Staying with Glenfiddich, this is one of their experimental series. This is Fire and Cane. This is where they had a percentage of peated malt, and then they aged it for some time, finished it like their regular ex-bourbon, and then finished it for some time in some ex-rum barrels. It's also 43%, which is nice. I continue to appreciate the experimental series, mostly because I appreciate trying different things. For me, this one didn't work. It really, the peat had a real black olive, old black olive note to it for my palate that I just couldn't get around. And then the cane part, the rum finish, to me is just too sugary. So in the end, appreciate they did this. I certainly won't be buying it again. Move over to, I've said lots about Highland Park 12. You know, this 43% is often on sale in my neck of the woods for $45. I think is a wonderful balance of a little bit of peat, good malt, and a sherry finish, well, sherry character that has I will continue to buy and keep a bottle of Highland Park around. It's often has a broad appeal and is a really relaxed and still quite flavorful dram for me. I'll buy another one. Killhorne and Sanic. I think this was my Scotch, my peated Scotch of the year. Released at 46%, unchill filtered, natural color. Killhorne from Islay is just, they're a fantastic smaller distillery, and this bottle was wonderful. It's going to cost you a little more, but anytime I relaxed with this dram, it was a good evening. I would buy it again. Port Charlotte from Brookladdy. So this was good. Lots of flavor, 50%. Another Islay. This one's full peat. It can get a little pricey, so you kind of got to watch the price on this one. It's also like any whiskey heads will talk about the MC releases and how much better they are and whatnot, and I do believe this would be better with some age, but for a young, fresh, bold, full peat dram, this could still fit the bill. In my area, it's priced a little high. I'm probably not going to replace it with this one, even though I like it. So I guess that's a not buy. That's tough. Freud Quarter Cask, I've said before, 48%. This is not for the faint of heart. This is not my first recommendation or even my second recommendation if you're just getting into peat. This is a bit of a bruiser, but I really find this quarter cask, it often is on sale in my area, has some nice high sweetness, some nice fruits, and then just all that Lafroig, like, you know, just got just good, maybe not all of that Lafroig. It's not as meaty as some, but it's got some deep smoke, ash, and then it edges into that creosote medicine note, but it's done well, and it wraps with that sweet core malt in here. Whew. I'll obviously have another bottle of quarter cask on my shelf. I just like it. I had an Irish. Tullamore Dew 12. I know that it's probably not that popular to like Tullamore Dew, but it's only released 40%. This one, to me, I actually really liked it. I found it to be a really nice, cleaner, fresher sherry notes. It came with the age stamp. It's priced okay. Not too perfumey. Sometimes I find with the lighter typical distilled nature of Irish, if you're finishing them in sherry, that it can get very floral and potpourri note. I didn't get that on this. Here I just got some nice fresh sherry, very easy drinking. It's very easy drinking. So I like it. And I'll probably wait till I see it on sale, but when I do, I'm probably going to buy another bottle. Some Canadians. So this is probably a quite recognizable bottle. Canadian Club, 20-year-old. Released at 40%. You know, it's a mix, corn, rye, barley. I wanted to like this. I'm a good Canadian and I love different kinds of Canadian whiskey. I just know that I will not be buying this again, even all the way through. I'm trying to think of a flavor note I could share with you that why I don't like it that much, and I'm kind of blanking, except that it just didn't really excite in any one direction. It needed a little darker plum note, or it needed a little more oak. By no means is this a bad whiskey. It's just not a great whiskey, and I want great when I see 20-year-old on a bottle. So I'm not going to buy it again. Double Barrel 40 Creek, 40%, probably filtered, chilled, and colored. It does have a second finish in mellowed and another in fresher ex-bourbon barrels. I think if you really like maple syrup sweet Canadian whiskey, like, you know, you're like what would be in that range, Crown, 40 Creek, you know, you might like this. And I know a lot of 40 Creek fans do like this. But all the way through, I just found that artificial cola note kept me from enjoying it. And I know that I won't. I appreciate that they reduced their price by going back to this bottle instead of the flat bottle. I do. I give them kudos for that. And for all the 40 Creek fans, this is probably a fantastic buy now. It's $20 less than it used to be. For me, it's just, I'm not going to buy it again. This one you've heard me talk about a lot before. This is lot 40. It's the regular green label, just their standard release. 43%, all unmalted rye, opened up through enzymes. This is awesome rye, and I would recommend it to anyone, and I will pretty much always have a bottle of this on the shelf. Priced right, it just tastes great. If you like rye. It's got some really nice candied fruits in there. It's got some nice black pepper spicing. I really will always have lot 40. This last one, bring it home with one of the NHL series. I have to say, in general, the NHL series from JP Weiser has been, you know, a little more toward 40 Creek Double Barrel there, like really kind of just sweet Canadian liquid, and that's okay. And I appreciate that they did it. I think it's fantastic. I've watched some of the video clips with some of these all-time great players, and I really think it's amazing. But the bottles coming out, I haven't really appreciated, except for this one, and a couple others. But this one for me, Dave Keon. This is a 3-grain, 45%, 14-year-old, and it goes through ex-bourbon, ex-Speyside, ex-Canadian, and some virgin oak barrels. This one's a treat. Instead of that strong Canadian sweet note that I know many people love, but for me it just feels like a cat with their paw on that one note on the keyboard or something. It just goes too strong. This one, it is backed right off. It's still there, but now it's accompanying other flavor notes that I think is balanced super well. And I have another bottle of this, and if I see another bottle, I'll probably buy another one. it is absolutely my favorite of the NHL series so far. Guys, thanks. I hope tomorrow you find all the channels and all the lives and all the cool things that are happening with World Whiskey Day. And just any regular folk not that committed to digging around whiskey, I hope you have a great May-long weekend. Maybe find some time with friends and family. Right, we're still sort of isolating, but not sort of. I do want to continue to recommend, let's hold tight. Let's keep our social distancing and whatnot. But I hope either you're at home with family that you can visit with, or maybe you could do a Zoom meeting or talk over the fence with your neighbor and just have a great long weekend. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hopefully I can edit that down to 15 minutes. Take care.